Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly in your heart. Are you really living your life? Or are you simply existing? Think about it carefully. Are you waking up every morning with purpose, energy, and drive, knowing you're moving towards something meaningful? Or are you dragging yourself through the days like a machine? Wake up, go to work, come home, scroll on your phone, sleep. Repeating the same cycle, waiting for someday to finally live. The truth is, most people aren't living. They're surviving. And survival is not what you were put here for. We tell ourselves lies to feel safe. I'll chase my dreams when the kids are older. I'll travel when I retire. I'll take risks when I have more money, more time, more courage. But here's the brutal reality. The perfect time never comes. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. And every day you spend waiting is a day you never get back. If you live to be 80 years old, that's about 29,000 days. If you're 30 right now, more than 10,000 of those days are already gone. How many of those days were wasted? How many more will you let slip away before you finally start living? Most people die long before they're buried. They stop dreaming at 25, but their bodies keep moving until 75. That's not a life. That's a tragedy. And maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you feel stuck, numb, like life is passing you by. If so, I want to tell you something that may shake you. This is your wake-up call. Because one day you will run out of time, and you will look back with either deep regret or deep gratitude, depending on how you lived. There was a man named Anthony. On the surface, his life looked fine. He had a steady job, paid his bills, even had friends to grab drinks with on weekends. But inside, he knew the truth. He was wasting his life. Anthony had big dreams once. As a kid, he wanted to travel, write stories, and build something of his own. But as the years went on, excuses piled up. I'll try later. Now's not the time. Maybe someday. And someday kept getting pushed further and further away. Then one night, Anthony got a phone call that would haunt him forever. His childhood best friend, the boy he'd played baseball with, the guy who used to dream big with him, was gone. A sudden accident. No goodbye, no warning. Just gone. Anthony stood at the funeral, staring at the coffin, overwhelmed by one thought. He thought he had more time. He didn't. And what if I don't either? That night, Anthony couldn't sleep. He realized his friend had dreams that would never come true. Words he'd never say. Places he'd never see. All because his time ran out. And then the question hit Anthony harder than anything else. What if my time runs out, and I never lived either? That was his wake-up call. And maybe this is yours. The truth is, most people don't waste their life in one dramatic moment. They waste it slowly, quietly, day by day. They waste it by staying in jobs they hate because it feels safe. They waste it by drowning in distraction, scrolling, binge-watching, numbing their pain instead of facing it. They waste it by letting fear stop them from chasing the things they truly want. And the scariest part? You don't even realize it's happening until years are gone. Ask yourself right now, how many times have you said, "I'll do it later"? How many times have you waited for the right time? How many dreams have you buried because you were too afraid, too busy, or too comfortable? If you're honest, maybe the answer hurts. But that pain can be powerful. Because pain wakes us up. Pain forces us to ask the hard question, am I wasting my life? Here's the truth. Time is your most valuable resource. You can make money back. You can rebuild relationships. You can start over in a career. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. Think about the richest people in the world. If they could, they would give billions for one more day with someone they lost. One more chance to live fully. And here you are, with time still in your hands. Will you waste it? Anthony realized this the night he lost his friend. He said to himself, I may not control how much time I get, but I can control how I use it. And that decision changed everything. He quit living on autopilot. He started writing again. He planned trips he'd been putting off for years. He started taking risks, starting small, but growing bolder every day. And here's the thing, it wasn't easy. He failed. He was criticized. He faced rejection. But for the first time in his life, he felt alive. Because wasted time is worse than failure. At least failure teaches you something. Wasted time teaches you nothing. So let me ask you, what are you wasting right now? Are you wasting hours scrolling, watching other people live instead of living your own life? Are you wasting your potential in a job you hate, too afraid to pursue your passion? Are you wasting your energy on people who don't value you, instead of building the life you deserve? Be honest with yourself, because this moment could be your wake-up call. The moment you stop making excuses and start making changes. Don't wait for tragedy to shake you awake like Anthony did. Don't wait until you're staring at a coffin, realizing someone else ran out of time. Your time is running too. Every second that passes is one you'll never get back. But here's the good news. As long as you're still breathing, it's not too late. You can make a different choice. You can stop wasting your life right now. I want you to make a promise, here and now. I will not waste my life. Say it out loud. Write it down. Repeat it until it sinks into your bones. Because when your final day comes, and it will, you won't care about the opinions of strangers. You won't care about the fear that held you back. You'll care about one thing. Did I live? Did I use my time well? Don't waste your life. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Not when conditions are perfect. Now, this is your wake-up call. This is your chance. When people hear the words, "don't waste your life," they imagine extreme cases. They picture someone throwing away every opportunity, someone spiraling into addiction, or someone making reckless choices that destroy everything in one dramatic moment. But the truth is, life is rarely wasted all at once. Most lives are wasted slowly, quietly, without fanfare, day by day, moment by moment. That's how it happens. You don't even notice until years have slipped through your hands. The most dangerous way to waste your life is by living in comfort. Comfort feels good. It feels safe. It feels familiar. But comfort is also the place where dreams go to die. Because when you are comfortable, you stop moving forward. You stop stretching, risking, growing. And little by little, you shrink into a smaller version of who you could have been. People think pain is their greatest enemy, but the truth is, comfort is far more dangerous. Pain forces you to move, to adapt, to grow. Comfort convinces you to stay the same. And staying the same means you never discover what you're truly capable of. Anthony once thought his biggest obstacle was fear, but looking back, he realized it was comfort. His job wasn't terrible. His life wasn't tragic. Everything was fine. And that's exactly what made it deadly. Because fine is the quiet killer of potential. How many people stay in jobs they hate simply because they're comfortable with the paycheck? How many people stay in relationships that don't inspire them because they're comfortable with the routine? Comfort tricks you into believing you're okay, when deep down you're wasting the only life you have. Then there's fear. Fear tells you not to try, not to risk, not to reach too high. Fear whispers that it's safer to stay small than to chase something you might lose. But the truth is, the biggest loss is not failure. It's never trying at all. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they never even start. Fear convinces them to bury their talents, their passions, their calling, and they spend their lives haunted by the question, what if? Rachel, a woman Anthony met years later, told him a story that hit him deeply. For years, she dreamed of being an artist. She loved painting as a child, but as she grew older, she listened to the voices of fear. It's not practical. You'll never make a living doing that. Be realistic. So she stopped painting. For nearly a decade, she didn't touch a brush. And though she had a decent life, something inside her felt dead. One day, after a long and exhausting shift at work, she sat in her car, staring at her steering wheel, and whispered, "I can't do this anymore. I need to live." That very night, she picked up her brushes again. Her art wasn't perfect, but it was alive. And for the first time in years, so was she. Fear never left Rachel. She admitted that every time she shared her work, she felt nervous, exposed, terrified of criticism. But she also said something powerful. "I stopped waiting for fear to go away. I realized I had to live in spite of it." That's what most people never understand. You don't have to eliminate fear to live your life. You just have to stop letting fear make your decisions. And then there's distraction. If comfort is the silent killer and fear is the paralyzer, distraction is the thief. We live in a world designed to steal your focus. Endless scrolling, endless notifications, endless entertainment. Every second you give to distraction is a second stolen from your future. Hours turn into days, days into years. How many books have gone unwritten because their authors were too busy watching other people's lives online? How many businesses never started because the founders were too busy being entertained instead of being disciplined? Distraction is dangerous because it doesn't feel harmful in the moment. 10 minutes here, an hour there, it feels harmless. But add it up, and you'll realize you gave away years of your life to things that never mattered. Anthony confessed that this trap nearly cost him his dreams. After work, he would collapse on the couch and lose hours to his phone, his TV, his video games. And for what? None of it moved him closer to the life he wanted. He was watching others live while his own life collected dust. The night he realized this, he felt sick. All that time gone. Wasted. Never coming back. That night, he made a decision. Every hour counts. Every hour must be invested in building the life he wanted, not wasted in living someone else's. And then, perhaps the most common trap of all, waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for more money, more courage, more support. Waiting for the kids to grow up. Waiting for retirement. Waiting until tomorrow. But here's the truth. Tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. You may not get another week, another year, another chance. How many dreams die not because people weren't capable, but because they were always waiting for someday? Anthony's friend who died never got someday. He thought he had time. He thought he had years ahead to live fully. He didn't. And neither do you. None of us do. So let me ask you, which trap has its grip on you right now? Are you wasting your life in the comfort of routine, too afraid to step into the unknown? Are you wasting it in fear, letting your doubts choke your dreams before they ever take their first breath? Are you wasting it in distraction, giving your hours away to things that don't matter? Or are you wasting it in waiting, convincing yourself that you'll start living later? If you feel a sting of recognition, that's good. That sting is your wake-up call. Because awareness is the first step to change. You can't escape a trap you don't see. But once you see it, you have a choice. Anthony once said, "The scariest moment wasn't realizing I might fail. It was realizing I might waste my entire life if I didn't try." That fear, the fear of regret, became stronger than the fear of failure. And that's when everything changed. You may not control how much time you've already wasted, but you control how much more you'll waste from this moment forward. You can choose differently. You can decide that your life is too valuable to throw away on comfort, fear, distraction, or waiting. You can decide that today is the day you stop wasting it. Because a year from now, you'll either look back with pride, knowing you started, or with regret, wishing you had. And 10 years from now, that difference will shape your entire life. The time will pass anyway. The only question is, what will you do with it? Don't let your life slip through your fingers quietly, unnoticed. Don't let years vanish while you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Don't waste your life. Because wasted life is the greatest tragedy of all, not because it ends, but because it never truly begins. Every story of transformation begins with a moment of truth, a turning point where everything changes. It rarely happens under perfect conditions. More often, it comes when life feels unbearable, when something deep inside finally says, "Enough. I cannot keep living like this." Anthony's turning point came one night at his kitchen table. He was surrounded by bills, an empty takeout box, and a silence that felt heavier than any sound. He stared at his life, comfortable but empty, and thought of his friend who never got another chance. His chest tightened as the thought hit him like a hammer. If I keep living this way, I will die with my dreams still inside me. That realization shook him, not in a dramatic way, not with some lightning strike of inspiration, but with a quiet terror. A terror stronger than failure, stronger than rejection, the terror of regret. He saw himself old and gray, sitting in a chair, whispering the words, "I could have, I should have, but I didn't." And that thought was unbearable. That was the night Anthony made a choice. He didn't suddenly change everything. He didn't suddenly quit his job or buy a one-way ticket across the world. He simply made one small but powerful decision: to wake up an hour earlier the next morning. Just 1 hour to do something that mattered to him. That hour became his sanctuary, his escape, his beginning. And little by little, that one choice began to shift the entire course of his life. That's the beauty of a turning point. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be real. It just has to be a choice to stop wasting your time and start living your life. The reason most people never reach their turning point is because they're waiting for someone else to hand it to them. They're waiting for permission, for the right conditions, for life to magically line up. But no one is coming to save you. No one is going to knock on your door and say, "Today is your day, now it's time to live your dream." It's you. It has always been you. And that might sound scary, but it's also empowering, because it means you don't have to wait. You can choose, right now, to stop wasting your life. Look at history, and you'll see that every person we admire had a turning point where they made that choice. Sylvester Stallone was broke, sleeping on benches, rejected by countless agents. Everyone told him he wasn't cut out for Hollywood. But his turning point came when he finished writing Rocky. He refused to sell the script unless he could star in it, even when he was offered money that could have saved him from poverty. People thought he was insane, but he didn't care. He knew what he wanted, and he wasn't going to waste his chance. That decision didn't just create a movie, it created a legacy. Think of Malala Yousafzai. She was shot for daring to go to school. She could have let that be the end of her story. Instead, her turning point came when she said, "They tried to silence me, but they failed." She rose from tragedy to become a global voice for education and justice. Her life could have ended in fear. Instead, she turned that pain into power. Or look at Oprah Winfrey, fired from her job as a news anchor because her bosses said she wasn't fit for television. That could have been the end of her career. Instead, it was her turning point. She refused to waste her life believing in someone else's definition of her worth. She believed in her own, and she rose. The point is this: turning points don't come because life gets easier. They come because someone decides, no more. I will not waste another day. Anthony's first hour of writing turned into a daily practice. That practice turned into short stories. Those stories gave him the courage to share his work online. And though it was slow, though it was messy, though rejection followed him at every corner, something had changed. He was alive again. He was living with purpose. And here's what you need to understand. Your turning point won't look like Anthony's. It won't look like Stallone's, or Malala's, or Oprah's. It will look like yours. It will be the moment you stop lying to yourself. The moment you stop saying later. The moment you stop hiding behind fear, behind comfort, behind distractions. It will be the moment you decide to live. It might be as small as picking up a pen and writing the first line of the book you've been dreaming about. It might be signing up for a class, or making the phone call, or finally walking away from the life that's draining you. It might be saying out loud for the first time, "I want more." And here's the most important thing. You don't need to know every step ahead. You just need to know the next one. Because clarity doesn't come before action, it comes after it. You don't find the path by sitting still. You find it by walking. Anthony didn't know where his new path would take him. He didn't know if his stories would ever be read. He didn't know if his risks would pay off. But he knew one thing. He would rather fail chasing the life he wanted than succeed in a life he hated. That was his turning point. So let me ask you, what will yours be? When will you say enough? When will you stop wasting your life and start living it? The scariest night of your life won't be the night you fail. It won't be the night you fall short. The scariest night of your life will be the one where you finally realize you've wasted too much time and you can never get it back. Don't let that be your story. This, right here, right now, can be your turning point. The moment you whisper to yourself, "No more. I will not waste my life." The moment you take one small step, then another, and build momentum until you're no longer just existing. You're living. Because the truth is, the clock is ticking. And the only thing more terrifying than failing is wasting the time you have left. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Decide now. The turning point is the spark, but the rise is the fire. Once you decide not to waste your life, that's when the real battle begins. And make no mistake, the rise is not smooth. It's messy. It's exhausting. It's filled with setbacks and doubts. But it's also where you discover what you're truly made of. Anthony felt this the moment he began to change his habits. At first, it was exciting, waking up early, writing, making small progress. But after a few weeks, the novelty faded and the grind began. And that's when the real test came. Because transformation isn't about the first step, it's about the 1,000 steps after that. It's about showing up on the mornings you don't feel like it. It's about pushing forward when no one notices, no one applauds, no one believes. That's what separates those who live fully from those who waste their lives. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's persistence. The willingness to keep rising when the weight feels unbearable. Think about a runner training for a marathon. Around the middle miles, the energy is high. The start is fresh. The crowd is cheering. But later, when the legs ache, when the body screams to stop, when the finish line still feels far away, that's when the true champions are made. They keep going, not because it's easy, but because they've already decided they will not quit. Anthony's rise wasn't glamorous. He kept his day job while building his dream. He wrote during lunch breaks, late nights, early mornings. His work was rejected over and over again. He failed more times than he could count. And yet, he kept going. Why? Because he had learned something priceless. Failure wasn't the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing was wasting his life by not trying at all. And that's what you need to understand. Wasting your life doesn't always mean doing nothing. Sometimes it means doing the wrong things for too long, staying in the wrong job, holding on to the wrong people, numbing yourself with the wrong distractions. True living comes when you align your actions with your purpose, even if it costs you comfort, even if it costs you approval. The rise also brings critics. Anthony experienced this too. People around him laughed at his efforts. Why are you wasting your time? Be realistic. Stop chasing foolish dreams. And maybe you've heard that too. Maybe you've been told to lower your expectations, to shrink your vision, to accept less than you want. But here's the truth. People will always criticize what they don't understand. And sometimes, your growth threatens those who are too afraid to grow themselves. You cannot live your life trying to satisfy everyone else. If you do, you will waste it. Because no matter what you do, someone will always disapprove. So stop living for applause and start living for purpose. Purpose, that's what fuels the rise. Without purpose, you'll burn out. Without purpose, even success feels empty. But with purpose, every challenge feels worth it. Purpose is what makes the climb meaningful, even when it's steep. Rachel, the artist who picked up her brushes again, found her purpose in creating beauty that spoke to people's souls. Even when she doubted her skill, even when sales were low, her purpose pulled her forward. She once said, "I may not be the best, but every time I paint, I know I'm alive." That's purpose. Purpose is not about being perfect. It's not about being the best. It's about doing what sets your soul on fire, what makes you feel alive, what makes you say, "This is why I'm here." And here's the amazing thing. When you rise with purpose, you inspire others to rise too. Anthony didn't realize this at first, but as he shared his struggles and progress, people began to notice. Friends who once doubted him started asking, "How did you find the courage to keep going?" Strangers messaged him, saying his words gave them hope. His rise wasn't just his own. It became a light for others trapped in their own wasted routines. And maybe that's the most beautiful part of not wasting your life. It's not just about what you gain, it's about who you impact. Your rise is not only for you. It's for the people who will one day say, "Because of them, I didn't give up." But don't mistake me, the rise is not easy. You will stumble. You will doubt. You will want to quit. There will be days when you wonder if it's worth it, when the old life of comfort and distraction whispers for you to come back. But this is where you must remember. Comfort is the killer, fear is the liar, distraction is the thief, and waiting is the trap. If you go back, you waste your life all over again. So you rise anyway. You rise even when it hurts. You rise even when no one claps. You rise because your time is too precious to waste, and your purpose is too powerful to ignore. Anthony once shared in a journal entry, "The day I stopped living for ease was the day I started living for real." And that's the shift you need to make. Stop chasing easy. Start chasing meaning. Stop chasing approval. Start chasing purpose. Stop chasing comfort. Start chasing growth. Because when you rise, when you truly start living, something incredible happens. You stop counting the days and start making the days count. You stop fearing failure and start seeing it as part of the journey. You stop wasting your life and you start using it to the fullest. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the rise was never about the destination. It was about who you became along the way. It was about proving to yourself that you refuse to waste the one life you've been given. So keep going, keep rising, keep living, because the world doesn't need more people sleepwalking through their lives. The world needs you, awake, alive, and unafraid to use every breath you've been given. At the end of it all, when the noise fades, when the years have passed, when your time finally runs out, only one question will matter. Did you live, or did you waste your life? That's the truth we all have to face. You can chase money, fame, possessions, but none of it comes with you when you leave. The cars, the houses, the likes on your posts, the applause of the crowd, none of it will matter. What will matter is how deeply you lived, how bravely you rose, how much of yourself you gave to this short, fragile, incredible gift called life. Anthony discovered this years after his turning point. He had built a life that was finally his, not one designed by the expectations of others. He had written books, traveled the world, and touched lives with his story. But the thing that gave him the greatest peace wasn't the accomplishments. It was knowing he had refused to waste his life. He had made mistakes, yes. He had failed, yes. But he had lived. Fully, unapologetically, intentionally. That's the legacy of a life not wasted. It's not perfection. It's not wealth. It's not popularity. It's presence. It's passion. It's purpose. It's the quiet but powerful truth that you didn't bury your dreams. You didn't surrender your time. You didn't leave this world with your song still inside you. Think of the people you admire most. They're not remembered because they played it safe. They're remembered because they lived with fire, because they left something behind, an impact, an example, a light. And you have that same potential. The greatest tragedy is not death. The greatest tragedy is the life that was never truly lived. How many people leave this world having never discovered who they could have been? How many take their gifts, their ideas, their passions to the graveyard, never to be seen, never to be shared? Don't let that be your story. Don't let the graveyard become the richest place in the world because it holds the treasures you never gave. Your life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not someday. This moment, this breath, this heartbeat, it's all you truly have. And the question is, what will you do with it? Will you waste it in comfort, in fear, in distraction, in waiting? Or will you use it to rise, to fight, to create, to love, to live with everything you have? You don't need to be extraordinary to live fully. You don't need to have millions, or fame, or perfect circumstances. You just need to be willing to try, willing to fail, willing to get back up, willing to use the time you've been given instead of letting it slip through your fingers. Maybe you're listening to this right now and you feel the weight of regret. Maybe you're thinking of years already lost, of chances already missed. But hear me, your story is not over. As long as you are breathing, you still have time. You can't change the days you wasted, but you can choose not to waste the days ahead. You can choose to make this moment your turning point, the moment you decided never again. Anthony often told people later in life, "I can't change the years I wasted, but I made a vow to never waste another one." That vow is one you can make right now. You can draw a line in the sand and declare, "From this moment on, I will live. I will not waste my life." And when you live this way, something extraordinary happens. You stop existing for yourself alone. Your life becomes a gift to others. You become a light in the dark, an example of courage, a reminder of what's possible. Just as Anthony's story inspired Rachel, just as Rachel's courage inspired others, your rise will ripple out farther than you can imagine. Someday, someone will look at your life and say, "Because they didn't waste their life, I won't waste mine either." That is the power of living fully. That is the legacy of refusing to waste the time you've been given. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't let another day slip by in comfort, fear, distraction, or waiting. Say yes to the challenge. Say yes to the risk. Say yes to the dream. Say yes to living. Because one day, it will be too late. But today, right now, it's not. This is your wake-up call. This is your turning point. This is your rise. Don't waste your life. And when the end finally comes, when your time is done, may you look back without regret. May you look back and say, I lived. I loved. I gave. I tried. I failed. I rose. I used every single day I was given. I did not waste my life. That's the legacy worth leaving. That's the life worth living. That's the call echoing in your soul right now. Don't waste your life.